Welcome students in Rayat Shikshan Sanstha's e-learning. Today's subject is Science and Technology Part 1, Standard 10th. Lesson number 1, Gravitation. In this lesson, we are going to study gravitation, circular motion and centripetal force, Kepler's laws and Newton's universal law of gravitation. Gravitation. The phenomena of gravitation was discovered by Sir Isaac Newton. As the story goes, he discovered the force by seeing an apple fall from a tree on the ground. He wondered why all apples fall vertically downward and not at an angle to the vertical. Why do they not fly off in a horizontal direction? After much thought, he came to the conclusion that the earth must be attracting the apple towards itself, and this attractive force must be directed towards the center of the earth. The direction from the apple on the tree to the center of the earth is the vertical direction at the position of the apple, and thus the apple falls vertically downwards. Figure shows an apple tree on the earth. The force on an apple on the tree is towards the center of the earth, that is, along the perpendicular from the position of the apple to the surface of the earth. Figure also shows the gravitational force between the earth and the moon. Newton thought that if the force of gravitation acts on apples on the tree at different heights from the surface of the earth. Force and motion. Force is necessary to change the speed as well as the direction of the motion of an object. Let's see circular motion and centripetal force. Take one stone and one string. Tie a stone to one end of a string. Take the other end in your hand and rotate the string so that the stone moves along a circle. As long as we are holding the string, we are pulling the stone towards us, that is, towards the center of the circle. Definition. A force acts on any objects moving along a circle and it is directed towards the center of the circle. This is called the centripetal force. Centripetal means center seeking, that is, the object tries to go towards the center of the circle. Let's see Kepler's laws. Kepler's first law. The orbit of a planet is an ellipse with the sun at one of the foci. Figure shows the elliptical orbit of a planet revolving around the sun. The position of the sun is indicated by S. Kepler's second law. The line joining the planet and the sun sweeps equal area in equal intervals of time. Suppose AB and CD are distances covered by the planet in equal time. That is, after equal intervals of time, the position of the planet starting from A and C are shown by B and D respectively. The straight line AS and CS sweeps equal area in equal interval of time. That is, area ASB and CSD are equal. Kepler's third law. The square of its period of revolution around the sun is directly proportional to the cube of the mean distance of a planet from the sun. If r is the average distance of the planet from the sun and t is its period of revolution, then t square is directly proportional r cube, that is, t square upon r cube is equal to constant, and here k is the constant. Let's see Newton's universal law of gravitation. According to this theory, every object in the universe attracts every other object with a definite force. This force is directly proportional to the product of the masses of the two objects and is inversely proportional to the square of the distance. Figure shows two objects with masses m1 and m2 kept at a distance d from each other. Mathematically, the gravitational force of attraction between these two bodies is F is directly proportional to m1 into m2 upon d square, or F is equal to g into m1 into m2 upon d square. Here g is the constant of proportionality and is called the universal gravitational constant. The SI unit of g is Newton meter square per kg square, and its value is 6.673 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. The value of g was measured by Henry Cavendish. Let's see magnitude of centripetal force. As you learn centripetal force, here we are going to find magnitude of centripetal force. The speed of the planet can be expressed in terms of the period of revolution t as follows. Suppose the distance traveled by the planet in one revolution is perimeter of the orbit is equal to 2 pi r. Here r is the distance between planet and sun and t is time taken, that is period of revolution. Suppose m is the mass of planet, v is their speed and r is the radius of the circle. Then force acted on planet F is equal to mv square upon r. As we know, speed is equal to distance travelled upon time taken. It becomes v is equal to 2 pi r upon t. We know F is equal to mv square upon r. Put the value of v in this equation, it becomes m in bracket 2 pi r upon t bracket square upon r is equal to 4m pi square r upon t square. Multiplying and dividing this equation by r square, we get F is equal to 4m pi square upon r square into bracket r cube upon t square. According to Kepler's third law, t square upon r cube is equal to k. So this equation becomes F is equal to 4m pi square upon r square k. But we know 4m pi square upon k is the constant. Therefore, F is equal to constant into 1 upon r square, and force F is inversely proportional to r square, that is F is inversely proportional to r square. By this equation, Newton concluded that the centripetal force, which is responsible for planet's circular motion, must be inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the planet and the sun. The gravitational force is much weaker than other forces in nature, but it controls the universe and decides its future. Is there a gravitational force between two objects kept on a table or between you and your friend sitting next to you? The answer is yes. Student, do you know that the high and low tides that occur regularly